Morning Cup of Joe. Tell her thanks. Thanks.
And welcome back to A Morning Cup of Joe featuring DJ Donuts right here on 107.9 FM, The Mountain. We are blessed enough to have our, can we call him a celebrity special guest?
I'd like to say that.
Okay, he's a celebrity to us. In studio right now, ladies and gentlemen, Dennis Hong.
Oh, thanks. I appreciate that.
Sorry, the audience, the audience in here is real quiet this morning. They haven't had enough coffee yet, so we apologize for that.
Oh, no worries. I have to give you guys mad respect for doing this on a Saturday morning. I didn't even go to bed that late last night, and then during the week, I'm usually up at 6 o'clock in the morning. I have to be up at 6 o'clock in the morning for work, but it's like my body just knew it was Saturday, and I did not want to wake up this morning. Yeah, even though I'm like, I'll get to sleep in an extra hour than what I usually have to wake up, but
it's
bad. Kind of difficult.
It's bad when I start waking up almost every hour now. Like, no matter how late I go to bed or what I was doing the previous night.
Yeah.
I always seem to wake up at 2 and 3 and 4, and I still have, like I told you before, 11 alarms set on my phone.
Yeah.
Because I'm so afraid of missing it. There was a couple mornings that I didn't make it in, so I feel you. So would you like to? We'll kind of do a little interview before we go into anything else. But
sounds good.
You are a freelance writer.
Yeah.
And you do your own blogs. You have a list of your own blog sites.
I have a bunch of different sites that I write for. Basically, I started writing for fun. And originally, I actually was writing about dating and relationships. I started off by posting notes on Facebook because I was going through kind of a bad breakup a few years ago. Mm-hmm. So I just started posting notes on Facebook. It was just kind of a way for me to process, basically. And
kind of a coping mechanism?
Yeah, exactly. Just kind of letting it out, getting it off my chest, so to speak. And my Facebook friends, they really took to my writing. And they're like, well, this is really good. And a lot of them got really into it. So a friend of mine suggested that I start a blog, and that's what I did. And then through that, I kind of basically parlayed that into freelance writing, where I was actually getting basically paid gigs, professional gigs, so to speak. So,
well, you want to mention any of your blog sites for people to check out?
Yeah, absolutely, of course. Thanks for letting me plug them. My blog is called musingsonlifeandlove.com. And I know that it's probably the clunkiest name in the world, but it's the only thing that came to mind when I was coming up with the blog. And the problem is, I guess, like I have enough of a fan base now where I'm sort of stuck with it. I can't really change it because then
can't call it the Dennis Report.
That would be kind of cool. See, if you had been there 4 years ago, I'd be like, all right, Lucas, I'm giving you a finder's fee for coming up with that. But that, as cheesy as it was, that was the only thing that I could come up with back then, like 4 years ago. So I'm kind of stuck with it now. But yeah, musingsonlifeandlove.com, all one word. And then the freelance writing I do is the main comedy site I write for is cracked.com. And in case you have never heard of cracked.com, it's basically a fact-based comedy website. It's a place to go to learn about interesting, mind-blowing facts. That's one of the words that we like to use a lot because we do try to find the most mind-blowing things that we can. But more than just presenting interesting facts, we present it in kind of a witty, sarcastic way where we sort of poke fun at it a little bit.
We actually are very familiar with Cracked.
I believe our listeners are too.
Yes, we love basically every list that we come across on there. And I found them when I was in the military back in Louisiana. Yep. I used to work really late, and I didn't have anything to do. And somebody had posted something, I think, on Facebook, a Cracked article, and I was hooked from that instant. Like, because it was more the way I talk on a normal basis, not on radio. Obviously, there's stuff I can't say, but
yes,
I talk just like those articles are written. And I fell in love. I wasn't a big reader. Mm-hmm. And still not really a big reader, I admit. I'm more the video game person. But Cracked pulled me in.
Yeah, well, there is a big segment of video game trivia on Cracked actually, and that's I think that's what's kind of cool is that I mean they basically have an open call for freelance writers, which is actually the main reason I was able to write for Cracked because my background isn't in writing. It was just something I started doing for fun. So
How long have you been writing for Cracked?
My first article was in 2010, so I guess that would be about 2.5 years now, and I guess that's the one we're going to be talking about in just a little bit, right?
Yes, definitely. Right. But
Okay.
before we do that, what do you, besides writing, what else do you enjoy in your free time? Is writing your main, hobby, if you will?
Yeah, I mean, I try to keep a pretty well-balanced life, I guess. I play hockey.
Oh, wow.
I play ice hockey, roller, floor hockey, pretty much all kinds, except video game hockey.
That's the only one I play. I was going to be like, yes, common ground.
No. I tried it before. I never figured them out. Like when you can move from one player to another and
Yeah.
you're passing, and it was too complicated for me. When you play hockey for real life, you only have to worry about where you are. You don't have
Exactly.
to move me, right? You don't have to move like
See,
5 players at once.
That's why I play Be a Pro mode because I'm a one person and that's it.
All right. So you're like just going up against everybody else?
Yeah, that's what I do for hockey, baseball, football, soccer. Just want to worry about myself.
Yeah, it seems a little bit easier, right?
That's what I'm used
Definitely.
to.
So anyway, I play hockey. I also swing dance. I'm a pretty avid
geez.
swing dancer. And
We
I
got a
used to teach it.
renaissance man in
Yeah,
here.
there's a lot of all the people who know me think that I do a lot of random things. So
I didn't know
hockey,
swing dancing still existed.
I would say that is really random.
That's a good point, Lucas. It's or sorry, am I supposed to call you DJ Donuts on here? My bad. My bad.
It's all
I don't think I think I've slipped a few times.
Oh, yeah? All right.
Everyone knows who it is.
All right,
It's cool.
Donuts. Sorry about that.
It's no secret.
Yeah.
I'm not
okay.
Batman or something.
Okay. Yeah. You don't have like a secret alter ego that I didn't just call you Clark Kent.
Whoa, dude, come on, man.
But anyway, so it has actually, that's a good point. It has kind of gone underground. I think it really hit its peak in the late 90s, and that's actually when I started dancing. But I think in a way it makes the people who do swing dance now a little bit more loyal because like the fad is gone, the fans are gone, and the people who do it are the ones that are pretty into it, and it's kind of fun. It's good exercise. It's a good way to meet people.
So you were professionally
No.
went to classes, or did you kind of pick it up on your own?
Well, I went to classes and I taught, but by no means was I a professional. But
So you won't see
basically,
you on Dancing with the Stars then?
no.
Okay.
But just to let you know, that's not really swing dancing that you see on.
Oh, well.
So, that's a very glamorized,
He was
Hollywoodized
associating
version
dancing,
of it.
I think.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
I
So
do a lot of association.
Okay. So swing dancing is it's like an improvised dance, and you can dance with like a set partner, but it's one of those things where you're at a club and you just go and they play a song, you ask somebody you don't know and you dance with them, and that's kind of actually part of the fun is dancing with somebody for the first time ever because you don't really know how they move and then they don't know how you move, so it's like
It's
a
definitely
little bit of a puzzle, I guess.
definitely a good way to break the ice.
And actually, it really is. It really is. I have to say that I've met. I have a girlfriend now, so I'm not going out there to meet girls anymore. But it's a good way to meet members of the opposite sex because, like you said, it's a perfect icebreaker. You don't have to come up with like this pickup line,
A cheesy line or something?
Exactly. You just go and look, would you like to dance? And if you're polite about it and you don't have BO and you're not creepy, then chances are that you'll at least get a dance. And
Oh, guess Joe's out.
3 strikes
Yeah, there you
against
go.
me right there.
Yeah, none of those. So yeah, I think a lot of people do also use swing dancing as a way to meet people.
Right on.
But it's still fun.
Speaking also
Yeah.
of the dating, you also have another dating advice site?
Yeah, so it's called Lemon Vibe, and it's at lemonvibe.com. And people always ask, why do we call it Lemon Vibe? To be perfectly honest, when I came up with the idea for the site, I don't know if any of you listening have ever had any experience trying to find names for websites, or what we call domain names, but they're impossibly difficult to
Because
find.
everybody, is it almost as bad as trying to come up with a new email address?
Actually,
or
it's
your
actually
screen name?
it's actually
Yeah.
worse. It's actually worse because at least with email addresses, you have Gmail and Yahoo and Hotmail, right? You can have like Dennis Hong at Gmail, and then somebody else can have Dennis Hong at Hotmail. But with domain names, this is worldwide. So I actually did did a little random check, and obviously I didn't do every single word in the dictionary, but every single one word English word in the dictionary is taken. Whether or not there's an actual website, somebody has it purchased.
Really?
Wow.
So it is impossible to find a one-word domain name at this point. Well,
That is news to me.
Yeah.
That is like an interesting fact.
yeah. So unless you want to pay thousands of dollars for it, and people who build websites know that if you have a one-word domain name, it doesn't matter. It could be like orange.com, or computer.com. One-word domain names are like incredibly valuable because they're easy to remember. Imagine you could tell people that your website is joe.com.
Oh, man.
Whoa.
I can't even comprehend that.
So
That'd be amazing.
if you own that domain name, it's you're going to get a lot of traffic to it. So my point is that we try to come up with a lot of different names, and ultimately Lemon Vibe were two catchy words, easy to remember, and we could justify it as saying, well, it's dating advice. So when you read when you read somebody's question, you can either get a sweet vibe from it or a sour vibe from it, and lemons are sweet and sour. So that's
nice.
our justification.
that worked out perfectly.
But really, we just wanted to find two catchy words. So Lemon Vibe is actually a crowdsourced dating advice site. When I first started my foray into dating and relationship writing, I actually helped contribute dating advice columns on a site called Dear Wendy. And so that's dearwendy.com. And Wendy was unbelievably helpful to me with giving me an opportunity to actually get into that because obviously I don't have a background in writing or dating and relationship writing. This is something I started doing for fun. So anyway,
A hobby that grew into more.
exactly that I've been able to grow. So where was I going with this?
Don't worry.
All right,
Story of our whole
it's
show.
Saturday morning. It's Saturday morning. I'm not used to talking this much on a Saturday morning. So anyway, I was writing and contributing columns on dearwendy.com, and what I noticed was that when somebody writes into a dating advice column or any kind of advice column, if you think of Dear Abby, most of the time they're writing because they have an issue with somebody else. And what I realized is that you can try to be as impartial as you want. You can just say this is what's going to happen. But ultimately, if you're the one writing in because you have some sort of issue with another person, you can't be impartial. There's just no way to be impartial about it. So my idea for Lemon Vibe that we're actually still building is that you can have two people go on there and get advice. And then also the other side of the problem is that anybody can market themselves as a dating advice expert. And I mean, there are some really good people out there. Don't get me wrong. There are some people out there who don't have a formal training in psychology or counseling, who are still excellent advice givers just because of life experience. But I've also found there are quite a few sites out there that the person is just a brilliant marketer. They know how to brand themselves and they know how to advertise themselves.
And there's a fair amount of internet trolls.
Exactly.
So
Like you?
yeah.
Yeah. So the point of Lemon Vibe is that it's crowdsourced dating advice. If I post a question, I ask a question, anybody else on the site can actually answer. But then anybody who answers gets rated on their on the quality of their advice. So it becomes
Right
kind of
on.
like a self-policing community, basically.
Yeah.
So if you go on there and you post a piece of advice that people think are really good, you get a lot of upvotes. That goes on your permanent record, so to speak. And then
no, you
people
keep a
know.
record on the site?
Yeah.
Uh-oh.
And I just realized that I'm sitting here talking with my hands and like using quote gestures.
I
I'm
do it
like,
all the time.
People can't see
Oh,
that.
it's cool. It's cool. Sometimes we'll go through lists that are heavily visual lists.
And we're
Yeah,
just like,
using your
And
hands.
we're trying to describe them, and it's just difficult. But actually, we're going to take a short time out here, and when we get back,
real quick.
Go for it.
Joe.com does exist. It's actually
Does
the
it?
St. Joe Company, which is one of Florida's largest real estate development companies.
All right, you should try donuts.com.
We'll get to that after the break.
yeah, when we get back, we're going to actually go into one of Dennis's first lists, correct? Yep. And I look forward to that. I love crack.com, and we'll have that for you when we get back right here on the Mountain 107.9 FM. This is a Morning Cup of Joe featuring DJ Donuts with special guest Dennis Hong. Stick right there.